Today is a little bit different of a lesson. We're going to be working with the problem set, and you should be watching this video with a partner. And you guys are going to do this together. So what we're doing today is we're actually using something called line plots, and we're going to solve word problems using our line plots. So what I have here is I have a table, and this table shows the distance that Mrs. Smith's fourth graders were able to run before stopping for a rest. I want you to talk to your partner about any patterns that you see in this. Go ahead and pause while you discuss. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a line plot to plot this data. And it shows your data by actually having a straight line, and then we mark above what the amount is on the bottom. So I want everyone to draw a straight line, just like this, with an arrow on either end. So it is a number line. And then what we have to do is we are actually going to start at 0, just because that's the easy spot to start. But we need to figure out how far we need to go. So if we look at our fractions, how large is our biggest number? Well, our biggest whole is 2, but if we have fractions in front of it, what should we go to? If you said 3, you are correct. And since this is broken into thirds, we're going to make 2 marks for our thirds. Mark 1 is 1, and the other one is 2. If you need time, go ahead and pause while you do this. So the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at our fractions. What are these fractions broken into? Well, we have some eighths and some fourths, and a half. So we can mark halves because half, fourths, and eighths all really work together well. So let's go ahead and mark our halves and label them. So this is a half. This is 1 1/2. This is 2 1/2. Now you should have yours marked as well. So now that we've marked our halves, so then it's talking about fourths. So we can go ahead and mark fourths, and we could mark eighths if we wanted to. But before we do anything else, my suggestion to you is to get a common denominator for all of these, because then we can compare much easier. I could make them all eighths, but boy, eighths are pretty tough, aren't they? Eighths are actually pretty small. So if we can take them to fourths, that'd be better. But as I'm looking, 5/8, I can't take down to fourths, can I? Bummer. So what we're going to do is we are going to definitely mark our fourths. Let's go ahead and mark our fourths, because a lot of them are fourths. And then from there, we can figure out what to do with our eighths. So there are our fourths. You don't have to label all of them, as if you do, it's going to be a really crowded line. So let's not label them all just yet. Let's go ahead and start doing some plotting. And the way we do that is we say, okay, I have 2 1/2. I find 2 1/2, and I put a little X above it, and then I check it off as I used it. 1 3/4, well, here's 1. These are fourths, so 1/4, 2/4, because that's the same as a half, 3/4, then I put a little X above it. Uh-oh, I came to an eighth. I'm going to skip it for now. I'm going to skip all my eighths, and I'm just going to do the ones that I can do. Now, if you happen upon one that already has an X, you're going to put the X above it. I'm going to show you that. The next one I have is Sasha at 2 1/4, so here's 2, and that's 2 1/4. Check. 2 2/4. Well, here's 2 1/4, 2 2/4. Oh, you put the X above, just like that. So those are all of my fourths. Well, now, what I have left are eighths. Guess what? We're going to have to cut into eighths. Now that I've done my fourths, let's cut everything into eighths. Remember, your whole is cut into eighths. Not the whole line, but an actual whole, 0 to 1. Go ahead and cut 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and 2 to 3 into eighths. Go ahead and pause while you do it. All right, so now we're going to put in Bobby, Morgan, Jack, Jenny, Anson, and Chandra. I'm going to do the first one with you, and then I'm going to have you pause and do the rest on your own. So here's Bobby, 2 and 1/8. So I find my 2, and I already cut it into eighths, so I say 2 and 1/8. And I put a little X above, and I check him off. Please continue on this process till you have every single number plotted. Pause. Here's what yours should look like now. So this is a line plot. At a real quick glance, what does this line plot tell us? Well, it tells us that a lot of kids were able to do 2 or more miles before stopping. It also tells us that the most students were able to do 2.5 miles, right there. So what we're going to do now is we are going to actually answer some questions. And those questions are found on the back. You have to go through and solve each problem. Who ran a mile farther than Jenny? Well, guess what? If I go back to Jenny, she was 5/8. So a mile more would be 1 and 5/8. Do I see anybody like that? Oh, ding, ding, ding. Hey, look, Morgan, it's you. Nice job. So Morgan did. So here's what we'll do. Who ran a mile farther than Jenny? Morgan. I'm not going to ask you to put them all in sentences. It's okay, unless it seems like it needs a sentence. All right, please work with your partner to finish this, and then you can get started on your homework, which is the same exact thing. Good luck.